and start all over again. All I have to do is put this down for 7 days. All that organic matter breaks on the soil. I don't have to make a bed if I rototilled it. And look at it, it's gorgeous. And now basically this afternoon I'll just come in here, put some compost and replant. So there's 3 tools in the no-till toolkit that I use. Cardboard, my ultimate favorite, silage tarps, and cover crops. Right now I'm just going to talk about silage tarps. But when anyone thinks of cover crops, they always think of, I gotta till them in, I gotta till them in. So what I'm going to show here is using cover crops with the silage tarp, and after 17 days, it's gorgeous. Before I pull it back, most growers know that rye is one of the most tenacious cover crops to deal with. So remember, now I'm going to till it in, so you're not disturbing the soil, releasing CO2. You cover it, and in the greenhouse, 17 days later, it's gone. So granted, it's a little quicker in the greenhouse than outside, but it's just planting. And especially with farmers in the springtime, they have a cover crop, it's wet, they can't get on the ground anyway. So using the tarps kills the cover crops. And what's really amazing about the silage tarps is the gorgeous till. So this will just, as you can see, just comes right out. It's all dead. But think about the amount of labor that has been saved rather than have to, you till that, you're bringing weed seeds up that never seen the light before are coming up. You're releasing CO2 in the air and you're completely destroying the soil, as well as then you have to make a new raised bed. This way, I cover it, I pull it back, I put some compost, and I plant. I don't have to remake the bed, but basically in my mind, one of the most beautiful seed beds is what the cover crop, what the silage tarp does. So imagine, 17 days later, from this to this is pretty phenomenal. In 17 days, as long as you plan ahead, it works. So let's go to the cover crop field that we have down here. This is really cool. Let's go down here. So here we have rye below the garlic and there's rye above the garlic. So this is a cover crop and we're going to let it grow for maybe another 3 weeks. It will be about this high, and then we're actually going to lay out a string, put down some compost, and plant right into it corn seedlings, also winter squash seedlings. So what will happen is the corn will grow, we'll let the winter squash grow, the winter rye grow, another row of corn, winter rye, corn, winter rye. And we'll do the same thing with the winter squash. So the beautiful thing about it is that the winter rye will continue to grow, keep the weeds from coming up, and it will also grow with the corn and with the winter squash. Doing is we have a crop of rye, and we really want to keep the rye growing because it takes CO2 out of the air, so this will continue to grow. Meanwhile, we're strip composting here, and the corn will also grow, so it's double use of the land. And then when it's all said and done, we'll silage tarp the whole thing, and it'll make gorgeous soil for next season. So we have cover crops growing at the same time as our corn crop. One of the reasons no-till is really taking off in the farming world is the speed and efficiency. You can farm. Usually you have a bed of rye, you have to come in and till it, you got to wait a certain amount of days for all that rye to break down. In this case, we tarped it, waited for the tarp to break it down, lifted the tarp up, composted, and planted right away the same day. So we got it planted. In this case, we knocked down the rye, we put some compost on it, and we dibbled right through it. You can see the bounciness of it. That's the rye underneath. A little bit of the rye popping up. But the beautiful thing about it, that rye is breaking down without disturbing the soil, and it's breaking down right above the roots. So as it breaks down, all that nutrition will actually go to the roots. So I'll be really interested in seeing the difference between this bok choy and that bok choy. But this is a great example of 2 beds planted into rye quickly. So this is silage tarps on a larger scale. You can get sheets from 50 to 100 feet long, so you can do quite a large area. This is just sitting here. So I plan on planting garlic in the fall. It's the middle of May. So it's just kind of resting. Everything's breaking down, and by the time I need to plant, it'll be beautiful. The beautiful thing about the whole no-till is you have all your land covered, ultimately. Between the greenhouses, we have some rye. In front of it, we have some cardboard covered with some manure. But basically, try to keep all the land covered just like the forest floor. And then when you're ready to plant, I might plant corn there. Here's an example of cardboard with a little manure on top of it. And we have onions and leeks growing in it. And radicchio, no weeds, knock on wood. So that's the beautiful thing about it, is I'm a solo farmer and I can grow lots of land, but I don't have to deal with the weeds. But the beautiful thing is that soil's gonna be richer next year because all that cardboard is gonna break down to some gorgeous soil. This is kind of cool just to see. This is the ground what we started with, and this is what we built it up to after the last 20, 23 years. Years of just adding good compost and lots of cardboard. We got gorgeous soil now. You can see cardboard from last year. It really gives you a sense of how much you can make soil, you can build soil. This is, basically the land when we came on here really wasn't much. It was definitely not agricultural land. And look at this. And I think that's really the future of agriculture. Let's make sure we get a nice shot of the dolly greenhouse. It's really super. This is no-till at its finest. These beds have never been tilled. 30-foot by 96-foot greenhouse. The crops speak for themselves. They're vibrant colors, full of life force, prana. We have a bed of rye all the way in, but all the rest of it is full of greens. We've been harvesting since March. With the new crop coming in of bok choy down there and some chard and dandelion greens. It's just full of life, full of color. Never tilled. Here's another example of the silage tarps. 8 days later, the greens are all gone. Ooh, better not use that one. Oh gosh, look at that.